In this episode, I want to inspire you, motivate you, and get you to stand up and go fight for what you must have in your life to get moving. Tune in. This is the Podcast in the Rough. Tune in every Friday for new adventurous episodes. All right, welcome back to the Podcast in the Rough. This is episode 112. I'm super excited, and I am going to motivate you. I'm going to move you. I'm going to get you to stand up and go for what it is that you want to have in your life, to go out there and get it. Like, why are you not getting it? So right now, when you're listening to this, I don't care what mood you're in. You might be like, oh man, I'm kind of tired, Zebulon. I don't know what to do today. Or I'm stressed out. Or I'm going to work. Or I got this job I don't like. Or you know what? I'm on top of the world. I love it, but I feel so unfulfilled and I feel so depressed, right? I've been there too. And I want to let you know that it happens to everybody. It happens to all of us. You're not alone. But I will say this, you have to find your passion. You have to get up and you have to say, what is it that isn't making me happy? What is it that isn't fulfilling me right now? If you're in that boat, or if you're at the top and you're like me months ago, years ago, and you're like, hey, I'm at the top of the chain. I'm at the top of the charts. My career successful. Everything I've accomplished. I've hit my life goals countless times and I'm doing it. I'm just like, but all the people I'm surrounded with are so happy and genuine. But at the same time, I should feel that way. But for some reason I don't. And it's like, why don't I feel this way? Why is it that I have everything I need? I have all the abundance, all the success, all the happiness, all the excitement, all the adventure, all the money, all the opportunities. But I'm still like, man, what is it? What's wrong with me? Why can't I be happy? Or why am I constantly thinking about where I came from? Because you're afraid and it keeps you up at night because you don't want to go back to that. And you know what? I will say this. It doesn't matter how much money you make, how much you succeed. If you don't continuously move forward and keep fighting for it and keep going for it and challenge yourself and jumping countless times, it's not sustainable if you're not trying. You can't just be successful, make money, and sit down. That's not the life that's going to fulfill you. If you stop feeding the engine, if you stop caring about your business, caring about the things in your life, your passion, your goals, your hobbies, caring about the people around you, caring about what it is that you're doing or who you're doing this for, it's not sustainable. You're not going to be fulfilled. You're not going to stay wealthy. You're not going to stay motivated. You're not going to stay successful. You're not going to stay in your career. You're not going to stay anywhere besides in the same position, same place, and it's going to get stale. You got to move. Just got to move your body. If you want to have a flexible, healthy body, you got to move. You got to move your mind. You got to move your energy. You got to move your career. You got to move your ideas, your passion. You got to move your goals. Okay, so I'm saying this because this is the Podcast in the Rough. And what is it about? It's about evolving. It's about contributing. It's about showing you things that you normally don't see from the surface. The Podcast in the Rough, it's the diamond in the rough. It's like you got to dig deep, you peel away, and like there's this dull thing that's shining up. And now it's like, wow, that was under all the sand for all these years. That's your potential. That's your untapped potential hiding underneath the sand for all these years. And you got to dig for it, find it, dust it off, polish it up, and show it to the world. Or shine it up and put it on your shelf and be proud of it. And that's your gift to yourself. So I'm encouraging you to start somewhere that's going to get you off your butt. You know I want to cuss. I want to cuss on this, but I'm keeping my podcast clean, right? As much as I just want to rip into that. And if you want that version of me, then get inside my podcast, my original podcast group, the Zebulon Thomas Podcast. And I'll link that below this episode. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, the link will be up on the screen and it's in the description below, okay? Because this is my original group. This is where I really go deep, right? And I'm sharing this with you too because I want to get you to think, where do I start, Zebulon? Okay, you got me motivated. I'm in this dead-end job, or I'm at the top of the charts, and my career's successful, and I have all these outlets and endless opportunities, abundance of wealth and money. Where do I start? You start right here. You start with this podcast. You start with creating your own podcast. Podcasting is on the come up. It's going to be the biggest thing yet, if it hasn't already, but it's going to get even bigger. Because even years ago when I got into this, or just a year and a half ago when I helped all these other people start podcasts and have a breakthrough, or start podcasts and reach a lot of people, whatever their goals were, we've accomplished that on so many different levels. It allows you to express yourself or talk about your business, talk about your product, talk about a cause, talk about something going on, and build a small community that you can start to grow and it becomes something. So I encourage you to get inside my groups. My groups are my original Zebulon Thomas podcast community, right? That was season 1. And then get inside the podcast community mastermind group where I'm teaching you how to podcast. And that is also absolutely free. And how you get to that one is simply by going to thepodcastontherough.com/learn. It's simple. Go there right now and get inside the group because we're teaching and talking about launching your podcast, getting it going, refining the one you have, polishing it up, making it amazing, and presenting it to the world, building that community. I have been successful in so many areas of my life, and I've had so many crazy opportunities and abundance of things that, yes, I too have sat on top of the hill and it is lonely at the top. It is lonely at the top. There's craziness at the top. There's just chaos going on. So you got to learn how to navigate and politic in those positions as you grow your career. And I'm going to keep you away from those pitfalls. I'm going to keep you away from those the craziness, right? I want to help you enjoy every step of the journey and succeed. But remember, it's not about the goal. It's not about the end goal as much as it is about the journey. And let me tell you this. When I say you have abundance of wealth, you got to ask yourself, what does that mean to you? To me, abundance of wealth is where everything you have in your life is prospering, is flowing, is in balance. It is wealthy. Because what is wealth? What is money if you don't have good health? And what is good health if you don't have good money, right? And what is good health, good money if you don't have happiness? And what is all of that if you don't have a good family life? It's balance, right? You got to have the balance. And you create that balance each and every day that you get up. And I want to motivate you so bad. Right, if you were in front of me right now, I would just look you dead in the eye and be like, you got this. There's a wall and we're both running right through that thing. And we're not even going to think about it. We're just going to bust right through that wall. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to look at the barricades, the obstacles, the challenges, right? The problems that are sitting in front of you, right in front of your face, that are blocking you. Maybe they're the ones maybe it's a wall of depression and you don't know what it is. You are going to step up today. And you're going to blast through that baby, right? You're going to look fear in the eye and say, not today. And how can I say that, right? Because I've done this. I do this every single day. I face these challenges, no matter what they are, levels of this stuff. I have friends that face these challenges. I have companies that I strategize or I work for, I film with, right? That I produce for, all this stuff. They all face these challenges, whether it's a group of people, an individual, a CEO, or it's just one person, one lonely person, right? It doesn't matter what it is or who it is or where it is. It's there. These are challenges are the sign of your success, right? Or a sign of you pushing forward. When you're not challenged, when you're not dealing with these issues, these problems, these challenges, these barricades, these walls, it's because you're sitting on the couch. You're not getting up and going for what you deserve in your life. And so listen, I want you to create a podcast. I want you to start with that. And if you have a podcast, I want you to just turn it up a notch. Let's go. I know many of you right now who have podcasts. You've built this incredible podcast, but there's something about it that is still dull, that you're like, I really want to just express more in here, but I'm afraid. I'm afraid what they might say. I'm afraid of what they might think. I'm afraid of what it might do to my business or my brand or to me. I'm telling you right now, you got to let that go. The moment you blow open the door, the moment that you go and you express yourself or you talk about those topics or you push through, that's when your community comes out the most. That's when you find yourself. That's when you start to hit that threshold of success. Because then you're like, bam, I'm breaking through. That's outside your comfort zone. Because there's the comfort zone and then there's the comfort zone of your podcast and your business and all this stuff. I'm telling you, don't connect a chain to your ankle. Don't pin yourself down because you created this amazing thing, whether it's your business, your brand, your image, whatever that is, right? Your success, your career, your podcast. Don't let that be your chain that keeps you from going and living life to the fullest and thriving. Right now, you can thrive if you want to, but you got to make a small shift. It really is. It's a small shift to go on saying this, I can, and I will, and I must. Just that thought right there. I can, I will, and I must. Then you have that breakthrough. then you go for it. Listen, it's late at night when I'm recording this right now. And you know what? It's so late that I didn't want to get crazy in the house in any one of my studios. So right now I took my portable mixer podcast, the PodTrack P4 that I talk about, and I jumped in my vehicle. I'm inside my car right now, right? This is amazing. My car is now my podcast booth. It's my recording studio. And I'm so excited. But you know what? I'm inside here. People probably looking through my garage windows from afar. Like the neighbors probably like, what is this crazy guy doing sitting in his car right now, waving his hands back and forth, yelling into this microphone? What the heck is wrong with this guy, right? Like, he's crazy. I'm passionate. And I got to deliver this podcast with my energy because you know what? You can't wait around for the energy in the moment to be just right. You got to go get it. Just the other day, I recorded this incredible thought process and way of thinking, and it just on my park walk. And it wasn't the perfect scenario, and I was trying to think of how I can capture it. I said, you know what? I'm going to go back to the old school. I pulled out my cell phone, and I started ripping this huge, just deep thought. And I captured it and I spoke about it. And if you want to get a piece of that, now this is where I'm going to be like, hey, you want to go a little further? You can support the podcast. This is where you can contribute if you want this content. And I'm so excited about this content. I am pitching to you and I'm encouraging you to go support the podcast because I would love for you to be involved in the content. I'm giving you extra content that's outside of this and I want you to have it. I want you to get involved in this. Right? And it supports the podcast. You can create the same concept. You do the same thing in your podcast. And that is simply a buy me a coffee. I love the site. It's an exciting opportunity. And I'm doing exciting things on this platform with my ZT Films. It's a whole nother level over there. And if you want to check it out, go to buymeacoffee.com/ZT Films and see what I'm doing over there. That's a whole nother thing because I love to take platforms and go, well, everyone's using it this way. What if I used it slightly different? It is slightly different, but it's a whole different. And I like that. I just said it's a whole different. But listen, honestly, if you want to get this audio I was talking about at the park, it's a good one. And I'd love your feedback. Go and I'm uploading it right now. As soon as I'm done with this episode, I'm mixing it, mastering it, and zinging it off. It's my first piece of content on there. And you go to buymeacoffee.com/in-the-rough. And you'll probably hear a commercial on here because you know what? I just did that commercial and I want to play it on this episode. I really love a good cup of coffee in the morning. If you'd like to buy me a coffee and support this podcast, head over to buymeacoffee.com/in-the-rough and take advantage of all the exciting ways you can support this podcast by buying me a coffee. Access to the podcast before it's released, behind the scenes, and exclusive content can be yours with any one of our membership tiers as well. Head over to buymeacoffee.com/in-the-rough. Yes, that's more like it. Now that's some good coffee. The podcast in the rough. I have the opportunity for you to choose tiers on there or just simply buy me a coffee and support that. I think it's incredible. Listen, all of these steps that I'm talking about, my podcast, getting the buy me a coffee, setting it up, being different, being unique, doing the YouTube, doing the Instagram, whatever that outlet is for you, I want you to process this in your mind and go, what would it look like if I started a podcast? I'm listening. Okay, Zebulon, I'm listening to you. I see you got this season 3, the podcast in the rough. You really went in on this. You got your logo up, it's on top, right? You got your graphics. You're starting to do different things with the podcast. You're showing us this stuff, You got some animation. You got a theme going there. It really has come together for me in season 3. And I've talked about this before. At the beginning, it was really fun because it was just the Zebulon Thomas podcast. And I didn't know what I was going to talk about. So I just jumped on the mic and I was like, hey, I'm going to talk about this today. And it was working because I was building my community and I was talking to everybody and explaining them the process of me doing this podcast for the first time. And people started to love that. Bam, then we get hit with the pandemic. Season 2 comes around, right? Now I'm using my voice, but everyone's at home now and everyone is listening because there's nothing else to do during that time. So I'm talking about the pandemic and I'm like, oh boy, I don't know what this is, right? I'm talking about I'm now giving my coaching side of my life into my podcast to motivate people to stay strong and get with it. And let's spread happiness. Let's come together. Things like that I felt, right? My energy that I felt around the world type of thing. And then I got incredible opportunity when I didn't think I was going to get opportunity. And, I was good. I thought I was just going to be like, wait this out. I don't know. But no, it was time to take action. And I got called upon by some really incredible people and entrepreneurs and mentors of mine. It was my time to play the big game, right? It was like, hey, all that stuff you've been doing, this is going to prove to you that you've been doing it the correct way, or you've been ahead of the game, or you are good at what you do. And all of it did. And it did challenge me. And it was scary. And I jumped forward and I said, you know what? And not only did I deliver, but I crushed that. I crushed it. I earned it. And I made another level in my career to go, holy cow. And that was the moment when I realized, oh my gosh, I hit my life goal. I hit all this abundance. What now? And I realized that I had stepped left of my career slightly to go achieve something, to take advantage and pivot during these times. And now I pivoted back to where I started. And now my career is even better because of that. And it's easy in that moment to fall off and be like, oh, what's happening? I stepped away. I shouldn't have done that. No, you simply just pivoted, took advantage of the opportunity, helped a lot of people, made a lot of people successful, applied your skill set, learned a bunch, challenged yourself, had some breakthroughs, had some breakdowns, right? Ran into some walls, busted through those walls, ran into some snakes, got bit. Ran with some wolves, went in the lion's den, right? I mean, you name it. It all happened at the same time. And then you come back and you go, wow, I escaped that hurricane, that storm, that tornado, that craziness, that earthquake, that pitfall, whatever that was, whatever you want to label that to be. And I'm speaking for you, like maybe you had that similar experience. And for me, it was just a whirlwind. And it took me a little bit to get back. But you know what? In the process, I share this in my podcast because the community wants to hear it. And it was so exciting. So I'm exciting you. I'm motivating you right now. Yes, you that are listening to this. Let's go. Why? Like, pull the car over if you're listening to this. Stop the car, right? Stop what you're doing, right? Sit down, take a couple deep breaths with me and go, I wonder what if. What are the possibilities? I should try this. I should do this. I can, I will, I must. You can do this. And why a podcast? Why not doing something else? Like, it doesn't fit in my blueprint. The podcast is the perfect formula for any blueprint. It fits right in between everything. It gives you a new foundation to build from. It teaches you things and skills and like you name it, it's all here. Whether it's communicating, whether it's telling a good story, using your voice, finding your voice, developing your voice, creating logos, editing, designing, sound designing, creating concepts and strategies and marketing and branding and reaching out to people. You name it, it's here. And it can work around any and everything that you do, even your busy schedule. But it gives you an incredible outlet to start to grow something, and that is a community. And a community is the most important thing you could build right now, whether you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, or someone with a hobby. A community is going to be your diamond in the rough. Because when you build that community, it might start off slow. You're going to find your voice. You're going to learn how to speak to your community. You're going to learn to see to listen and learn and watch what the community likes and wants from you. And then you realize you become a leader, and now you're leading this community, and you're a team player, and you're able to give back on a major level. And let me tell you this, your community does not have to be 1 million freaking people on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook. Your community really only has to be 5, 10, 20, 50, maybe even 100. Small, a small, tight community. And that alone will give you so much feedback. And whether you turn that into a profitable thing for yourself and everybody else in your brand, or you turn that into something that gives you the motivation and the backing you need, even if it's just support, to go out there and tackle the world, or to go out there and be the best you can be in your community or in this field, or excite and help people with a hobby, or give them information that they're really looking for that solves the problem. So I want to encourage you to step up. There are people in my Facebook groups. They're incredible at what they do, but they don't step up. They don't take action. Why? You give them the course, they go through the course, but they don't answer any of the questions. They don't ask you their questions, and they stumble and they get stuck. Why? It's because they're afraid of success. They said, here's all the tools. If I give you all the tools you need right now to be successful, to blow open the door, you still might mess that up. You might sabotage it, or you might walk away from it. Why? Even if you paid for it, you still might be like, I'm not going to use this because you're afraid of success. You're afraid of what is after that, right? So you're so used to grinding. You're so used to moving towards that goal that when the goal shows up one day and you're standing right there and all you have to do is kick that ball into the net, or you have to throw that ball into the hoop, or you have to throw the ball, someone's going to catch it and run into end zone and score for the team. Are you going to crank a home run, right? You know how the swing goes and you don't do it. You swing and miss. You don't kick the ball. You turn around and go the other way. You throw it and you get a fumble. You don't step forward and own it when you have everything you need to actually do that and you know you can do it. I've done it too. You fear success. Don't fear success. What you do is you go ahead and do it anyways because you know what? After that, it becomes a free fall. And you know what that is. If you got to that level, if you're standing at that level right now, you have that opportunity where you've reached the goal. You've been through so many free falls. You've jumped so many times. You're used to that by now. Let me tell you this. You're used to that. And so now you're going to go into a free fall again. And you know what? You're going to find the next goal and opportunity. And this time, the journey is going to be a lot different from experience. If you haven't hit that goal yet, that life goal or a big goal you've been going for, if you haven't hit it yet, I can tell you this, you're not enjoying the journey right now. You're just going for the goal. When you hit that first goal, you will then appreciate the journey and you will be more focused on the journey and the experiences and finding ways to create multiple goals that take you on multiple journeys because you're going to keep hitting those faster and faster and faster. And then it stops becoming a journey goal thing. It just becomes a journey. And there is no goal. The journey is the goal. It's just balance, maintenance, going for it, excitement, the roller coaster, right? That's what it is. And that's what the podcast is. It's the only thing that would literally stay with you through all of your endeavors, all of your business changes and pivots and shifts and downfalls and pitfalls and triumphs and victories and successes. It's the only thing that will cut through all that clutter and still be here if you turn around and grab the mic the whole time. Because we want to know what's going on behind the scenes. We want to know about it. When you have a bad day, get on the podcast and talk about it. Someone else having a bad day is going to hear that and go, oh man, I need to hear that. I'm not alone. Right? Or if you feel motivated, say it. If you feel like saying something's bothering you, say it. If you feel like talking about a product and it's exciting, then say it. Say it on the podcast. So I hope this motivated you. I really did. And listen, I cut into this because I didn't even give myself time to take breaks. Like, we're going to return right after this and we're going to take a break. I didn't do it. I just cut right in and you heard that. And hopefully you stayed with me. Start asking yourself the question of why not? Right? And then tell yourself, I can do this, and say, I'm just gonna try it. And then forward thinking every day after that, going, this is what I want. This is what I'm creating. So many people create something and they find out that they made it too difficult. We didn't have to. Why? I've done it. I've done it several times. So like, why do I have the big cameras? Why do I have all this editing software? Why have I made my podcast so sophisticated with the animations and the EQs and then I simplified it so that it's easier for me, but also it benefits everybody else like you that want to, how to make your voice good. I got a PDF now on that, the EQ that shows you that, like all this stuff. But why do I complicate these things at first? Well, it's because my passion runs wild, right? It's because my energy has just run wild. And my mind is like, yeah, let's just do it. I was told there's nothing I can't do when I was a kid. And obviously that rings true. And I'm glad they did that because if they didn't do that, if my parents didn't do that, if the family members around me didn't do that, I don't know if I would be able to do it. So I'm telling you, there's nothing you can't do. Go do it. You're unstoppable. Go through the wall. Everything is a test, a challenge, and it's an opportunity. You have to see it that way. Because if you live life jaded, you're just gonna be held down. It's your chain. The jaded is the chain. If you go through being a pessimist, you're not going to be able to achieve the things that you can achieve and reach your highest potential. So you have to be optimistic. You have to go out there and risk it. You have to go out there and be you. And that's where I want to motivate you today. Listen, it is Friday. I've talked your ear off on this podcast, and I hope that I come through with, that I hope that you enjoy this crazy side of Zebulon, right? And I'm in this car right now, and I really wish that you could see me in this car, in my garage, through the window. Man, if I could take a picture of myself, set up a selfie, and set it here. It is ridiculous. But you know what? There you go. Take a note. If you don't have any place to do a podcast and you just got a cell phone or you have a portable mixer like this and a mic, go in your car, and it's the perfect sound booth. I sound pretty good in here. I love it. I mean, I don't know. I might have Daffy Duck the crap out of his mic right now because I'm really saying and spraying it because I'm in here just excited. And it might be full of fumbles and bumps and all this stuff. But hey, it can't be perfect. This is the podcast. I said to myself, you know what? We're pushing down to the wire this week to do an episode. And it was because I got so busy and I had a few off days where it's like I got up and I said, geez, I tried to run at the wall, but someone moved the dang wall. I couldn't even go through it because they kept moving it back. And then I was like, you know what I mean? Like the days where you're like, I'm going to work or I'm going to achieve this. And for some reason, it just wasn't in the cards. You're going to have those days too. You know what? When you have those days, don't beat yourself up. Go, okay. That's when I turn and I tell myself, I got to ask a better question. Where do I need to be today? What do I need to be doing? And sometimes you just got to listen to your body or listen to things that are going on. And be like, all right, someone else needs me, right? So my time is needed somewhere else to do something else, right? Or it's distracting you to take a break so you can come back to something. As long as you're moving, right? I didn't sit down on these days, but you know what? We got down to the wire and I said, you know what? I'm not waiting for tomorrow. I'm feeling real good. This is what I'm talking about. You can't wait for everything to align. Like you can't wait for your energy to be the greatest. And you're like, oh, I'm feeling so good right now, but I can't record because whatever the reason. Grab your phone. Capture the energy. Right now I'm capturing this energy right now that I have, and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning right now. And I said, you know what? I have to speak. I have to say something on my podcast. I'm not going to wait for tomorrow to think of tomorrow. My mood might be different, or the ideas might be different, or I might get a phone call and need to put my attention somewhere else. But this way I capture it now. And I ran out to my car and I said, I'm going to be in the garage and I'm going to rip this. And tomorrow I might get up and go, oh my goodness, I have even more energy and a better idea. And I rip the next episode and I get ahead of the game. But listen, here's what I want to plug. You probably heard some of these commercials already. I think I've edited them in. I'm pretty sure I did. Here's what I want to say. Get inside my Zebulon Thomas podcast community. The link is going to be in this podcast episode somewhere on the screen, somewhere below the video, or just go to thepodcastintherough.com and find this episode 112, and you'll see the link to that group. It's a Facebook group. It's free to get in, and there's no email, no crazy wall. You just go right in and get in, and that's where I share motivational, personal stuff on there, and it's a great community, right? Small, great community. The second one I want to plug is the group, of course. Get inside the Podcast Community Mastermind and learn about podcasting. I have so many tools in there, and it's growing every single week, every single day. All right. I should have said it the other way around, but I fumbled. I'm not perfect. There we go. I just realized the other day I said something like, if you haven't wrote a review when it's really written, I think that's what I said. I apologize for that. Listen, I don't know what I'm saying sometimes, and I don't know how to say it, but I say it. It's there. Anyways, please, if you would like to support this podcast, then head over to buymeacoffee.com/in-the-rough. At least check it out. Take a look, get some ideas, build your own, or show some love and support this podcast. And I always say this, if you haven't done that and maybe you can't contribute, that's fine. Maybe you just want to contribute in the form of giving me an awesome rating or review on Apple Podcasts or any one of the platforms that you might be listening to this on. Leave a review. You can even leave one on the website, thepodcastintherough.com. At the bottom of the page, you can write a review. I'd love to get your feedback on how you like these episodes in this podcast. It really motivates me. It's really awesome. I love that. And if you would like to go a little further, definitely check out buymeacoffee.com/ZT-Films. That will give you some ideas and start to do things differently, and I'm raising money for different projects. And I figured, you know what, let me open the door. If you want to get involved and contribute that, we can both throw in. And it feels really good to spend your money on something that has when it's all created, you're like, I was a part of that. That's what I get out of it. When I spend all this money on a passion projects to team up with someone else or to film an event that I feel passionate about, at the end of the day, I'm like, wow, this was great. Or when I align all the sponsors and the right people and it gets a bigger funding and maybe, we do all make out and we do have different levels of success on that, or maybe it's financial gain. It feels good because we all came together to create something. And that's what my ZT Film is all about. Capturing moments in life and giving opportunities to others. Just create pieces of digital content that we can look back on and say, wow, that was an awesome moment. So if you want to get involved and see what that's about, go check that out. And that is buymeacoffee.com/ZT-Films. Other than that, it is Friday. And I hope you take the time to yourself today, enjoy your weekend, and look back at all the craziness this week and say, you know what, not today. This is my day today. This is Fun Friday, and I'm going to enjoy it. And you are not calling me today with your craziness. You are not doing that. Own that. This is you. And if you don't have that luxury yet, maybe you need to make it a must, because it's a small shift to make that a must. It doesn't mean we don't work today. It just means we are not going to stress any of this today. We are going to move into the weekend on the right foot, and we started right here with the Podcast in the Rough, and we got motivated. So thank you so much. Tune in next Friday for another great episode of the Podcast in the Rough. Take care. This is the Podcast in the Rough.